Good Friday morning. My name is Jerry Miller. Thank you kindly for joining us on Real Talk. This is an insider's guide to real estate across Charlottesville, Central Virginia, the Commonwealth, and the country. We are live on the I Love CVille Network. Real estate is the game, and the Yes Team Realtors are trusted advisors in this space. Keith and Yonna Smith of Roy Wheeler Realty Company. One of my favorite aspects of this week and all weeks in general is this program. Real estate, undoubtedly a passion, and I've learned so much from Keith Smith and the guests that he has welcomed to this program. Judah Wickower is our director. My friend Judah, let's first go to the two-shot, and we welcome the distinguished gentleman.
Thank you, sir.
An award winner from last night's
Roy
Wheeler Realty Awards, Keith.
Yeah, we did well. Well, it was all Yonna, but...
What'd you get? What was the award?
No, we won't tout our own
Team
house.
of the firm.
Yeah, something like that. So, look, this is exciting. I was going to say I got two really good-looking gentlemen across, but then I figured I didn't want to lie. but we're excited about today. We're going to talk everything from pizza to solar, and I think Pearl is going to announce some neat stuff where real estate agents can help with solar, and I'm just looking forward to this conversation. We had breakfast this morning for coming over here, and I think we just did the show already, and we're just going to reproduce it because we had a good time. We actually had to get kicked out of Marie Bet.
You did?
Yeah.
The number one customer in Marie Bet, Water Street?
Something like that.
Got kicked out.
No, I'm only kidding.
We're going to do this. We're going to welcome the gentleman to the show, Judah Wickower, studio camera. You guys are on camera now. You guys are looking sharp. Let's start with Tad. Tad, I feel like I've had the chance to get to know you through your wonderful better half, Mallory.
Yes.
She has said that you are incredibly understanding, very patient, a dog lover.
She is not honest.
Tad, ladies and gentlemen, is big time people. He's kind enough to join us, the VP of Sales and Marketing at Sigora. Before we talk shop, how about some personal?
Yeah.
What are you all about?
Well, gosh. So from Maryland originally, moved down here to Charlottesville about two and a half years ago now, and Mal and I have really enjoyed getting to know the town, and so yeah, we've kind of immersed ourselves in, besides volunteer work with the dogs and all that stuff, the local restaurants, the breweries around here, all that kind of fun stuff. So it's been a lot of fun for us to get used to everything.
You like the area? If so, why?
Yeah, totally different. We really like it a lot. There's a ton to do. We like to be outdoors. There's no shortage of opportunity for that. But tons of different things to try. Again, wineries, breweries, all these different types of things to be outside. Great restaurants here, obviously in Charlottesville and surrounding area. So a lot of fun things to keep you busy. That's for sure.
Agreed. This gentleman, his second rodeo on
Yes,
the
sir.
program, from Long Island, one of our favorite Long Islanders.
Yes.
I can't say my favorite because my wife's from there,
Yeah,
and our in-laws are from there.
You would get-
Let's not get you in
This dude is
trouble.
a cool guy. Joe, again, introduce yourself to the public.
Sure. So Joseph Gentile, Vice President of Real Estate for Pearl Certification, and born and raised on Long Island. I guess like passions of mine, family, food, friends, changing up the order depending on what's in front of me that day. And I enjoy coming down here. We were at the Roy Wheeler celebration last night, so congratulations, Keith.
And Yonna.
Yeah, and Yonna. Sorry about that.
She's
Yes,
watching right now.
Yes, I apologize, Yonna. But yeah, it's a fun trip for me every time I get to come down here and spend a little time.
This is pretty awesome. The two gentlemen sitting across from us, we showcase local, right? But also these guys have very national reaches, right? And we're going to talk a little bit about that here in a few minutes. But I think, Joe, we're going to start with you if you don't mind.
Sure.
And we had when we were having coffee, you were talking about this new way that real estate agents may be able to help, and I'd like you to jump into that and tell me what program you've got going in there, or you prefer wherever place you prefer to go.
Sure. So I mean,
other than walk out the door.
well, a couple of months ago, Cynthia and I were on a phone call with a real estate agent, and they were asking us for help with somebody who had host-owned PV on their house, and
So
host-owned solar. Sorry
Got
about
it.
that. Yes, and what was really discouraging was the agent that had gone on the listing presentation before the one that we were working with. The advice that was given was insane. It was, hey, if you want to sell this house, remove the solar from the house. and it blew Cynthia and I out of the water, and we said we need to do something about this. So we created a new product, and we're actually in pilot right now, and Charlottesville's the main area where we're piloting this, and it's a self-service solar program for agents to cheaply and quickly certify the solar on a house to give them the proper marketing materials to market it for maximum value.
So tell us how that works.
That's huge.
Oh, it's a big thing. So we're really excited about it. And if any agent is listening right now and you want to jump on the pilot, email info@pearlcertification.com, and we'll get you involved in the pilot. Right now, there's some special pricing going on, and a couple of free ones as well.
Free is good.
Yeah, free is very good. I mean, the main thing is we've just created a site where they submit a couple of photos and a couple of pieces of documentation of the system, and we're able to extract all the information we need out of that to produce the certification. We make it very easy.
So I want to get Tad in the conversation here in a minute, but
Sure.
I just want to finish this train of thought. So as a real estate agent, and we have a ton of realtors watching and who watch in the evergreen format of the show, so why do you think the real estate agent, I have my opinion, but why do you think the real estate agent said what they said, that they should take it off? Because that just blows my mind. I don't understand that.
It's insane. We're trying to come up with reasoning. Now, this isn't the first time that we've heard this. Now, over the course of the couple of years that I've been at Pearl, it's probably happened 2 or 3 times. But I think there's a fear of the unknown. It's, if I don't know how to market this correctly, then hey, it's got to go. That would be the only logical explanation as to what you would come up with. There is some confusion because other areas of the country, not in Virginia, there is leased solar on the house. There is, what do you call it, preferred pricing that's involved. But if you don't know about it, learn, educate yourself, right? If you want to be a trusted advisor like Keith and Yonna, go out and learn more about the product and be more effective at your job.
So during the show, if any real estate agents are watching this stuff, they might want to chime in and help answer that question, because I got hit with that over coffee, and it just blew my mind. I did not even expect to hear that. To me,
Christopher Eagles watching Real Estate 3. Give us some perspective on that topic. 4 firms from Central Virginia watching the program as we speak.
So let's get Tad in.
Yeah.
So tell us about the great stuff that Sigora is doing, and then maybe how we tie into Pearl.
Yeah, so Sigora's been a partner with Pearl for a very, very long time, and it's been a great partnership. I can say for both of us, and as we've continued to grow our footprint, we're headquartered here in Charlottesville, but we do have a national footprint at this point. We're kind of really all over the country, and as we've grown, Pearl's grown as well and scaled with us, and so it's super valuable, because for years and years in this industry, in the solar industry, the only thing you could ever really sort of tell someone was, of course your home's going to be worth more. You have a lower electric bill than anyone else in the area. But there really was no tangible way to show that or really, prove that value. And so it's, one of the huge advantages to having Pearl certification is that it's third-party verification of the work that's been done and the way to properly value that work. And makes a huge difference, because, the truth of the matter is, as Joseph said, it's oftentimes an unknown, whether that be for an agent or even for homeowners. We're new enough in this industry that there are very few people that have had solar installed on multiple homes. The vast majority of people doing it, it's their first time doing it. And so there's an area there that's unknown, and so it's important to kind of guarantee, as much as anyone can anything, guarantee the value of your investment.
So over the last few years, not to put an actual number to it,
Sure.
Solar has just exploded.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
A lot of it has to do with you guys. You have this national footprint, and if Judah will show a map at one point in time in the place of the show where you guys are working in the United States, which is a pretty large footprint. But in simple terms, why has this explosion happened?
And that map is on screen now.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so a huge part of the reason, and if you see our expansion, even just over the last few years, we started in Virginia. Now we've expanded North Carolina, Florida, New York, Illinois, South Carolina coming on board, California coming on board, all these other places, just continuing to go everywhere. And the biggest reason is because utility bills continue to increase. Sure. And it's one area for all of us. It's kind of the great equalizer, right? It's a monopoly. You buy your home. You don't think about who your utility company is going to be. You have to have whoever it is. And you have to kind of just pay whatever their rates are. You don't have any control over that. There's absolutely no way to really change that other than, lighting candles and, staying cold in the house. That's about the only level of control any of us have. And so, solar kind of puts that power back in people's hands because you're now able to make your own power. And if you can make it for yourself and also make it cheaper than you can buy it from someone else, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Well said.
Yeah, there you go.
It's what I do for a living.
Yeah.
So if I can't say it well, we got way bigger
I thought it
problems.
was working out is what you
Dude,
did.
that was so well said. That was so well said. Throw this to you, Joseph, the partnership with Pearl and with Sigora. Your thoughts?
Sure. I mean, Sigora is one of our leading contractors in the country. They do such a great job. And not only do they certify all their own work, but they also certify the whole home at the same time as they're in there. So they do an energy audit. They're certifying the entire home. So when that home does go for sale, it makes it very easy for the agent to certify it, or not to certify, to actually get a marketing packet to correctly market the product, or market the home.
Yeah, so we use you guys regularly. We've talked about this on your last show, and I mean, we can statistically prove it is truly 5% increase just from the certification process. To go back, Benz, to how you two guys work together, Yonna and I, the Smiths, are looking at putting solar on our house. We were talking about this at breakfast today, and the other thing Mr. Smith is trying to convince Mrs. Smith into is a Tesla, but don't tell her.
She's watching the show.
Don't tell her. So, to me, I'm just looking at this whole package, and we currently have propane in one system and electric on the second, and we're swapping out, so everything is high efficiency electric heat pumps. But you guys are going to be able to, based on my age of my home, which is 20 years old, I'm going to have like a fixed $200 a month electric and heating bill.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit how that happens.
So, it's kind of a great example. To give you guys just a little bit of insight, on average in the state of Virginia, utility rates increase by about 4% per year.
Man.
Every single year. Now, that's technically a small enough number that in a vacuum, nobody really notices a 4% difference. But when you think about that, even over the course of 5 years, you're talking about a 20% swing, and 10 years, it continues to grow. And so, the difference is when you live in the home, even if your usage, your consumption of electricity doesn't change, you're going to continue to spend more for electricity. And the thing that's really interesting is the more people go away from the utility company and start having solar, what's going to happen to those rates? They're going to actually continue to increase at a much higher rate because the utility company has to, exactly. They got to make up their money, right? They've lost all these customers. They have to continue to raise rates. So those people who aren't investing in solar are essentially guaranteeing themselves much higher utility rates than they've ever had, and they're going to grow exponentially faster. So this gives you an opportunity to lock in a utility bill and then also pay it off anytime you want. You don't have the ability to do that. I don't care where you live or who your utility company is. Feel free to call them up and say, hey, I'd just like to go ahead and pay this thing off. What do I owe you? There's no amount of money that they would accept from you to never have the ability to bill you again. Whereas if you have solar, you own the electricity. You own the ability to produce it. And so you pay it off anytime you want. You're not obligated to keep it for any period of time.
All right, my wife is watching right now. We are now moving. We're moving. We're in the process of moving. Mrs. Miller, I think we need to go down this road here. It's like a no freaking brainer here.
That's usually how I describe it.
You explained it right there.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it is a no-brainer, but it's important that the two tie together, right?
Yes.
Because you need your certification, right? So you understand where you currently are at, and then you guys kind of come in and backstop. That's why it was so important, in my opinion, to have the two of you guys sitting across from me. I just can't get out of my head what this real estate agents were telling you. That I just don't get it, particularly after a very simple, with all due respect, a simple explanation on why solar is so beneficial, why a real estate agent would say that. And I know it isn't what we had planned to talk about, but it's really taken me off on a different direction in this conversation. And since we have a lot of real estate agents talking, I just really want to kind of hammer home why they really should be using your audit system, your new solar system.
All right. So, I mean, the one thing that we need to really get away from, and I just started working on this, on a new presentation to start delivering, is are we displaying homes or are we marketing homes?
Oh.
Right? And I think we've kind of fallen into this trap across the country where it's just display, 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 and we're not really getting value back in the real estate industry. Or we're not delivering the value to our customers is actually a better way to say it, right? So how can we get to marketing a property?
That's because of the internet, isn't it?
Oh, it absolutely is.
Yeah.
Because it got easy, right? And then, of course, with the inventory shortage and rates where they are right now, it's driving the marketplace. So agents really don't have to be crafty in the marketing of the product. So, show me a product that doesn't really highlight features to sell. Every product, whether it's your iPhone, a cleaner that you have, or your car, everyone highlights features. In real estate, we highlight the same 4 or 5 things over and over again. New kitchen, new bathroom, vaulted ceilings, crown molding. And no one's really getting into the weeds on the things that really impact your life in that house. It's, what is my experience living in this house? And that's really what Pearl does, right? So whether it's solar or whether it's, the air sealing in the house or the insulation, it's giving you an experience, what it's like to live in that house, and what it's going to be like for the next 20 years that you live there, right? So agents really have gotten away from it, and let's change that.
We have a common client, and I'm going to get out of the way and throw it to you, in Dominion Custom Homes, and we handle his brand. He's got the listing of his house.
Sure.
And correct me if I'm wrong, it's platinum certified.
Absolutely, yeah.
So this home, throw it to you, peak performing home.
Absolutely, and that generates the phone call. Sure. Right, that generates the interest in the home. We're about ready to re-release it. We took it off for the winter, and we'll talk about that in a previous upcoming show. But as Joe was talking to me, I just did a quick search. We're below 3% now, as we sit here today.
On rates.
On rates.
Sure. That's crazy. That's nuts.
I just looked it up, 2.75, and that's assuming and I just don't. Now's the time to get your Pearl certified. Yeah. Now's the time to sit down, Mrs. Miller, with Tad, and
please,
and we'll talk offline.
Yeah,
and to get you guys to look at it. This is the reason I'm pushing my wife along the way, plus the Tesla, because then we'll never have to pay for gas.
If my mortgage Paul is listening right now, it'd be a good time to call right after the show.
I like it.
It'd be a really good time to call. You did promise me that you were going to take a look, so hopefully you got the hint that I'd like to refinance right now if they're under 3.
So one of our sponsors, right, Mike Bittrick,
nice.
Right? They like it. Hey, see, look at that. I'm getting into it. But and the rule of thumb is if you can get like a 2% spread, you should refinance. Some people are getting a little tighter on that stuff. But, at 2.75, Mr. and Mrs. Smith are going to be giving Mike a call to look at refinancing our house because we're a little higher. We've got a higher spread than 2 points at this point.
First Heritage Mortgage, Mike Bittrick and his team. I got a question for you. If we can demystify some of the reasons not to get solar.
Yeah.
And these are some of the reasons that I have heard, whether it's like shooting the proverbial, at the bar with my buddies.
Sure.
Or talking, with the husband and wife at a various neighborhood party. Some of the things that come up. What's the ROI? Will we ever break even or come ahead? Oh, it's so much money up front to do this. Where's this going to go on our house? I don't think we have the positioning for it. Those topics,
sure,
and other ones you hear, if you can demystify them for us.
No, those are great questions for you to ask me. They're not great questions for people to actually have about this stuff. And the reason is because...
Whoa. Explain that.
So
because he's got the answers.
Yeah. So, well, the truth of the matter is, and this kind of goes into what our industry has done and how it's done itself a little bit of a disservice, is that very early on in this industry, there were a lot of people with a lot of egos who wanted to seem really smart, and the best way to do that is to make something seem really technical and intimidating so that you need their help in order to be able to get through it. And the truth of the matter is, it is not that technical and it does not have to be that intimidating. This is the opportunity to create electricity. That's it. Solar panels do that. So there's not a whole lot else. Yes, you can get into all kinds of ins and outs, but those things don't really matter to that great of a degree.
But just to interrupt you for a second,
sure.
The technology in the last few years have grown leaps and bounds, correct? And the price to produce also has reduced.
So I will absolutely agree with you as far as price reduction. The truth of the matter is technology really has not changed that much.
Wow.
Technology changes more on the battery side. So, for instance, we're one of the only companies in the Mid-Atlantic region, one of the very few on the East Coast, that are Tesla certified to install the Tesla Powerwall battery.
Oh, let's talk about that.
Yeah, it's a very interesting product, and we sell a lot of them, and it's but my point is that there has been technology from that perspective. the true technology of how solar works has not changed since the 70s. Wow. There's been improvement in the efficiency of panels and those types of things, but the basics of how it works has always been the same. And it's not so much different. Like, a lot of people think of it like their cell phone. In reality, it's a little bit closer to like your microwave or your refrigerator. There are incremental improvements, but not this, landslide, amazing, change or seismic shift. And so solar, in terms of the cost associated with it, almost always, it is cheaper for someone to go solar than they're already paying today for their electric bill. The thing that people, I think, lose sight of is the fact that you're already paying for it, right? We even, and I'm including Sigora in this, sometimes some of our people get caught up in this idea that, we're in the solar business. The truth of the matter is we're in the savings business. Solar is the vehicle that allows you to accomplish that. And so it's just strictly a matter of saving money. You're producing electricity for yourself cheaper than you're buying.
You are a phenomenal marketing guy. It's such a good explanation.
Well, it needs to be demystified a little bit because
right.
It is, because the people, we see it all the time. The vast majority of times when people don't look into solar, it's fear-based.
You're basically saying you're making these payments to Dominion Miller family anyway. Why not make the payments to Sigora instead of Dominion? In the end, you're going to have no payment schedule with us, Sigora, but you will continue paying Dominion
Forever.
In perpetuity at a compounded 4% increase every year.
That's correct.
Screw you, Dominion.
See? You're really good too.
Yeah. Is that what you're saying?
That's pretty much exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yes, it's not that hard to figure out if someone explains it to you in a way that makes sense.
It should be explained like that.
Yes.
So Joe and
That's
I,
all it needs to be.
Joe and I are going to get pizza.
Yeah.
And you guys can finish the rest of
One of the two of us is getting pizza.
One of the two
The other one's having it.
Which at some point we do need to talk about, Joe. Okay. But thank you so much, man.
Sure.
That was a great explanation.
They're valid questions because people don't know.
And
this is a thing, this is an industry that a lot of people just don't know very much about. And once you have a little insight, it becomes easier.
It intimidates people,
Yes.
right? I mean, it's not a favorite word of mine, but it does.
And it's
Yes.
totally what he said, where they tried to complicate it in the beginning
Sure.
to build, we are the people to not make it complicated for you, pay us. But now there's so many competitors in the space that you can't use that solution anymore.
Right.
You have to make it less complicated for people to do business with you.
That's correct. And I can tell you, just to give you an idea, over a normal, so our products have a 25-year warranty. Over that period of time, our average customer saves about $86,000 in electric costs. So it's not that hard. You're spending the money either way. So the question is only, if I'm spending the money either way, which thing is going to give me more bang for my buck? Same with the utility company or making it myself?
I want to spend a little time with Joe.
Well, so now imagine a real estate agent that doesn't have the knowledge that Tad has.
Right.
And going to a listing table and
Why are you
trying to
looking
explain.
at me when you said that?
Well, 'cause
Hitting close to home, Joe.
no, I wasn't looking at you as someone that doesn't know anything about solar. Yeah, but no, seriously though, if you think about it,
I still love you.
Right? If you're an agent and you're the average agent that doesn't have a knowledge base like Tad does, and you're okay, well, this is Mr. Mrs. Seller. This is how we're going to help you sell your house. I really don't know how to address the solar. Just remove it.
Well, that's why that's the reason I keep on bouncing back to this
it's-
new program that you want to put out, because not everybody has Tad with me as I go to a listing presentation or talk to somebody. Hey, talk to Tad, right? He'll explain this to you. Or I guess in this case, I'm going to take a 1.5 minute or 3 minute video and go, hey, watch this.
Yeah, try articulating that value on a listing presentation.
But the program you're about ready to release, right? Will help us get to that point.
Absolutely.
In a very simple, so in a way, you recognize the struggles that Tad is having and the general market is having, so my hat's off to you, and you and Cynthia has created a solution to that. Am I oversimplifying that, or is
it is 100%.
You're creating approachable marketing leverage for real estate agents to take a property and shorten the sales cycle and help it close.
Correct. We're the easy button. That's the best way. We're the easy button to do what Tad just did on the show, because he's not there on every listing appointment. Sure.
I love that. When did that idea come to fruition? How did you flush it out?
Well, it's being flushed out right now. So, but I mean, it started at the end of last year when we received the phone call from, as an agent in another area of the country. Let's not throw anybody under the bus. And, when Cynthia and I were debriefed after the phone call, we just couldn't get over it. It's okay. How can we solve this? how can we take what we do for a whole home certification, narrow down the field to just one asset that's a really good asset, and make it the most beneficial piece of the house?
So again, and Tad, thank you for using this word. One of the mantras that we have that Jerry and I focus on is the demystification of stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Last week we had Vincent Zorno on, and we were talking about, the disruptors in our industry and demystifying that and all that stuff. But the second thing that was popping into my mind as you guys were talking, with all due respect, you just put a business model to this, right? You just said, okay, this isn't some great vision.
Sure.
Let's look at this. Let's turn it into a business model. And function that way. Is that oversimplifying it?
It was a marketing plan. It
Yeah.
was a branding and
Well,
marketing plan.
marketing is part of your business plan, right? You can't.
Yeah, I mean, look, so by all means, Sigora did not invent, the solar industry by
Sure.
any stretch. We've just tried to perfect it to the best of our ability and make it very approachable. And that's where, the folks at Pearl and creating a package that includes that automatically is super helpful, because the vast majority of the time, and we're now getting to this point in the industry where, there are plenty of companies out there that can throw solar panels on your roof. That's not really very hard to find. The thing that's harder to find is who's actually going to provide you value that differentiates themselves from the competition. And so for us, Pearl's a huge part of that, and it's included in our entire package. So when we're installing, anywhere in the country, all of the homes automatically are getting Pearl certified.
I think what Tad's searching for is that do it well. I think that's what Eugene's trying to say.
Right.
And he's being very polite.
Man.
I'll say it for you.
Man of many words.
No, it's true. We always say, all solar's not created equal. And just like all real estate agents aren't created equal and all mechanics aren't created equal, all solar's not created equal either. There are differences, and it's important to know what those differences are. And they start with who's doing the work and then what's included.
So what really excites me about what you guys are doing at Pearl, Joe, with this is, from being a business guy, you recognize the problem, right? Same thing with Sigora. You recognized, hey, this is the market we want to be in. You simplified it, and you got it out to the public. And trying to change this narrative out there. So my hat's off to you guys on what you're doing. We will get the pizza.
We got a lot of comments coming in.
Cool.
Should we get to them? Sure. So Jason Leffler says, I love our partnership with Sigora. Harry Tyson has a question. How often do solar panels need to be replaced?
Ooh.
So replaced would be
Well done, Harry.
extremely rare. That's a great question. Short of there being some sort of a tree branch fell on it or something like that, it would be very, very rare that something would need to be replaced. One of the great things about solar is that there's really no maintenance. There are no moving parts. There's almost nothing that can really go wrong. And then that's why you have such a great warranty. That covers
So Harry is my awesome son-in-law.
Oh, okay.
And literally, that was the question that I sat down when we had coffee. That was one of the first questions came out of my mouth, because we get asked this from clients. Right. So how often do I have to replace them? The other question is, what happens to them after their lifespan is done? What happens to them? Sure. Maybe you might want to answer that.
Yeah, there are recycling programs and things like that. That panels can be recycled.
Okay, cool.
There's a lot that can be done. That lifespan, though, again, we're talking about a warranty period of time. And again, different products vary, but typically anything good, 20 to 25 years, you're talking about just the period of time you're under warranty. It's not like it stops working the last day of that warranty. There are many, many solar panels installed in this country that have been on roofs for 30, 40 plus years and are still producing. So
let's talk about two
There's
different.
a ton of comments here. No, go ahead. Literally a ton of comments are flooding here about this. Keep going, Keith. No, I don't want to interrupt you here.
Really?
Yeah, sorry. Keith, you're making some good jokes today. Dude.
Yeah, well, I've been practicing.
You want me to get to the comments? You want to finish your thought?
You know, I just lost my.
Okay, all right. Let me throw this, and then I'll get out of the way of you. Andre Xavier, he's the CEO of CVille Hop-On Tours. He said, we just got Sigora Solar in our house. We use Sigora. We are waiting for Dominion to switch our meter. This company is fantastic to work with.
Awesome, thank you.
Matthew says this company is undoubtedly the best in the market, and we enjoyed working with them. Matt says, we literally got Sigora Solar put on our townhome. It's absolutely fantastic. Trevor Daniel has this question. I understand why an agent would recommend removal. As a novice, I see solar as a maintenance risk, much like a pool. It's a fear of the unknown, which is what you were saying.
Right.
Yeah. Fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
Should I get? You want more comments here?
I've remembered what I was going to say, but so whenever you're ready.
We got this comment coming in. Tad, can you give us some insight into payment options? What if we don't have a lot of money? Do we need to put a lot of money up front?
No, I can tell you the vast majority of our clients put no money down up front whatsoever. There's super competitive financing that we have the ability to offer with, obviously it depends on what you can qualify for, that type of thing. But I mean, interest rates as low as 3.99. So we're super competitive with mortgage rates at this point. And again, pay it off anytime you want, no prepayment penalty, you're not obligated to keep it for any period of time. So it makes it really simple. But yeah, you do not need to have money up front. You don't even start paying until after all the work's been done.
So that was a perfect segue. You and I are doing our thing here, into what I wanted to ask. So my question was to explain to who's watching us today and in the future, next steps, right? So from Joe's perspective, if you could just talk a little bit about if a person watching this wants to have Pearl come in and certify the house, or a real estate agent wants to certify their house, what's that step? And then I'm going to bounce it back to you on that.
All right. Next step for a real estate agent that wants to be involved in the pilot.
But also the general. Okay.
That wants to be involved in the pilot. Email, like I said, email info@pearlcertification.com. That's the easiest way.
But I'm talking about the regular certification.
If you want a whole home certification, go to pearlcertification.com and you could certify your home right there and order your certification.
So it's really simple. It's an app.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Well, you could either go to the website or you can download the app. You go to the app store and just download the Pearl certification.
So it's a simple. You take a quick quiz. It tells you if you qualify. Correct.
Sure. So it's a quick 7-question quiz on the house. Quiz isn't really the right word. Survey. It's a survey on the house because there is no fail, right? And we'll let you know if the house pre-qualifies for Pearl and.
So, because we did this on our personal house, so just again, they've made it so simple, and hopefully I know you will. This new solar thing will be so simple. You fill out these 7 questions, and then you get a phone call to schedule.
That's it. You click order my certification, and then Mary reaches out to every agent. And we hook you up.
Mary?
Mary's sitting
Mary's
there.
right there. What's up, Mary? Mary's in our studio right now. Love Mary.
So Mary reaches out, and then we set up the certification for you with the certification specialist. We get that completed for you and the marketing packet out within a couple of days.
So it's literally falling off of a log.
Yes. You can't. We can't make it much easier.
You can't screw it up.
Physically cannot. And then the marketing of it is very easy too. And I think that the sellers really enjoy the added touch of having the certification there and the different assets that we provide to the agent for them to successfully market the house.
So every time we've done it, usually the seller looks at it and, oh, wow, I didn't realize I had this, right?
Sure.
Or I didn't realize I am here, right? They just assumed they were somewhere here. And so that's a great tool.
Yeah, so I mean, most agents, most homeowners don't realize over the course of time that they're in the house, that they're making upgrades along the way that are efficient upgrades. So yeah, the furnace that you have may not be a high-performing or an energy-efficient furnace, but it's certainly more efficient than a furnace that was put in 20 years ago, right, or 30 years ago. So as you're replacing the furnace, your house is becoming more efficient. You're replacing the water heater. Now, if you take better steps, like in my house, we put in a tankless water heating system. At the time, I didn't realize how good of an asset that is. Now, I'm sitting on a Pearl Certified Gold home because I've done a handful of assets along the way, a handful of upgrades to assets in my house along the way, and they all add up to something pretty significant.
So, Tad,
yes,
right?
Sir.
Harry, who's watching, happens to be up in Connecticut. Let's assume Harry lives here in Charlottesville.
Sure.
Tell me the process, right? I'm loving what you're saying. I want you to come look at my house.
Yep.
Mrs. Miller.
Yeah, she's watching, my wife.
Mrs. Miller wants you or somebody from your team
Sure.
to come and look at tell me this process. How do I go from this conversation to getting panels on my roof?
Yeah, it's really simple. You contact our company. You can do it through the website. You can call us at sigorasolar.com. You reach out to us. We schedule an appointment to come out to the house. We do need to actually come out. We need to see the roof space. We need to see, your electrical box and things like that. We have a look at your electric bill. We sit right with you and create a proposal. And, everything that we do is customized for each individual home. A lot of people will just call us up and say, hey, how much does solar cost? It's not a one-size-fits-all type of thing. It's based on your consumption and your needs. So, we have a consultant sit down. They look at your bill, input everything into our proposal software, and then build a system based on, your needs, your available roof space, sun exposure, that type of thing. And then at that point, it's up to them. We lay it all out. I mean, it's very simple. It can be as simple as, spend hour and a half with somebody, sit down, answer any questions, think about it, whatever you want to do, and then move forward from there. It's very simple.
So Yonna and I did this, and it was really, really a cool thing. They came down, we sat down, looked at it. They made some suggestions. Look, if you do this, if you do that, right, we can do this. So we made these couple of changes. We're going to have you guys come back again, reassess what we have, and go in there. And then, the financing. I mean, literally, you could not make it any easier. And hopefully, we'll put that Tesla in the garage.
There you go.
But I want to talk about the batteries, though. In a minute.
Absolutely, no, that's a
Jerry
huge portion of the industry as well.
Yeah.
A lot of growth in the battery.
I think Jerry
portion.
wants that.
Yeah, we got a lot of questions coming in here. So this is an interesting one here. This one is about, I am a restaurant owner and I own my restaurant. I own the building. Can I do solar power from a commercial standpoint?
Absolutely, we do a huge amount of commercial work, and lots of local places here in and around Charlottesville already have solar. We actually have a ribbon cutting coming up at Carter's Mountain.
Nice.
We did a huge solar array for Carter's Mountain. That's April 11th, Saturday. We have a ribbon cutting up there. Pro Renata Brewery's getting ready to get installed. A lot of the local wineries around already have our solar out there. So absolutely, we do a tremendous amount of commercial work.
Jerry, I'm a business owner of the downtown mall. Can you ask your guests how I would encourage my landlord to get solar power? Of course, I'm covering the electric bill, and I would like to lower my costs somehow.
Yeah, so I think that's a great question because it's
Because he doesn't own the space.
Exactly. That's the
Yeah.
hard part. You kind of have to own the space. By all means, encourage the property owner to look into it because it's typically an excellent investment for that property owner. So it would definitely make sense for them to look
Which
into
brings up a great question. So how does your product work in an urban environment?
It's great because we can kind of tailor it to whatever's needed. So again, part of what I was saying earlier about the fact that we kind of customize everything to the individual circumstances, whether that be commercial or residential. We do any type of roof, metal roofs, shingle roofs, all of those types of things. We do on the commercial work. You obviously have a lot of flat roofs with schools or different things like that. So urban environments definitely something that can be done. Just depends a little bit on on the roof space available. That's really what it always comes down to: roof space available and sun exposure.
How about this, Jerry? I'm a real estate agent in Charlotte, North Carolina. I love this program. Please ask your guests how Sigora Solar works with homeowners associations and gated communities that may have restrictive methods and methodologies on what can be outside a home. That is a
really good question.
From
Awesome.
Charlotte, North Carolina,
Awesome.
right there.
Yeah, very good question. A really good one, and fortunately, a fairly easy answer. We work with tons and tons of HOAs, particularly, and just so you know, we have a whole kind of department of people that do nothing but work with homeowners associations because we do hundreds and hundreds of projects a month all over the country. So you better believe you're dealing with a lot of homeowners associations in those situations. And so there are sometimes some things you have to work around. Most of the time, if they have any sort of a rule, they may say, well, they don't want it visible from the street, but there are legal provisions in place that if it affects the production of the system too much, then an HOA can't prevent that from happening. So we absolutely work with HOAs. We provide them diagrams, pictures, packets of information, whatever it is that they need in order to be able to get the approval. And you're seeing lots and lots of homeowners associations where they used to be resistant to it that have now embraced it. And I currently live in Spring Creek myself, and there's solar going all over the place in Spring Creek, and that's a gated community with a relatively strict HOA, and they've really relaxed and become a lot more understanding of that. The more popular it becomes, the easier it becomes for people to work with it.
So tell us what other exciting things are happening in Pearl. I've heard a couple of rumors.
Well, I mean, there's not in terms of real estate, we are entering into several new marketplaces. So we just entered into Chicago. We're taking a look at some areas in Texas. Miami's another big one. Yeah, we're expanding from a real estate perspective across the country. The sales team for on the contractor side of things is really blowing it up on a national level.
So let's talk about that for a second, because most people don't know that you have the certification. You also have the contractor portion of it, right? So
Correct.
if I want to do something to my home to increase my certification, you guys can help with that too, right?
Sure. So we do partner with companies like Sigora across the country in several different trades. So it's not just solar. We do like HVAC and weatherizations and things of that nature. So there's certain criteria that the contractors have to fall under. So if they are an exceptional company in the top 5% of the contractors across the country, we grant them access to the network where we certify their work on all their installs. So that the sales team is out there right now just trying to uncover those, who those contractors are, and wake them up and say, hey, look, the time is now to jump on board.
So, Joe, if you were to say anything to all the real estate agents that are watching to really understand or want to use or get energized to use your product like Yonna and I do, what would you say to them? Because 5% is a big number, and I can tell you, I can testify to it. Every time that we do it, we do generate that extra 5% in sales. So let's talk a little bit about the benefit of that.
So it was really interesting. I was at the Inman conference earlier in January, and the one
in
thing
New York, right?
Yeah, in New York.
There you go.
It was a
You
long,
didn't invite
it was a long
me,
journey.
but
It was
okay.
a long journey for me. Yeah, I had to take the train a whole 40 minutes to get there. And with the one thing that kind of that jumped out at me from the conference was they were talking a lot about the shift in the market. Like, this isn't going to last forever. So how, as an agent, can you stay ahead of the trend? Because at some point, we're going to wash out a whole bunch of agents out there that just aren't doing an exceptional job. So the time is now to take a look at the way you are going to market with your listings and how you market them, and become a strategist. Really focus in on the features of the house that sell, that resonate with today's buyers, is really what I'll tell you.
So we talked about this last Friday.
Yeah.
So trusted advisors. What value does real estate agents bring to the transaction, right? Because we're in the real estate. At least I am
Sure.
in the real estate business. So your product, right? What you do, I may be wrong, can't really be done with a Zillow app, right? Because you physically have to have somebody come out and look at your home. You start that process. Is that?
Well, I think it's simpler than that, right?
Really?
It's really taking
Simple's
a look.
good.
Take a look at the features of the house that go unnoticed in the transaction. There are a whole lot of them. And you know what? If you went up to a room full of buyers and said, hey, who here would like to live in a house that had less dust, less bugs, less mold, cost less money to run every month, it was more comfortable, would it appeal to you? How many
Everyone's
buyers?
gonna say yes.
Yeah. So that's what Pearl does.
That's a pretty
right?
easy sell, Joe.
It is a very easy sell. So if you sit there and really explain things, what the feature is and what the benefit is and what the experience is, then that house will become more valuable.
But I think you're validating my point. On an app or on something like that, it might get the phone to ring, but you need to have somebody with the skill sets to explain what you just explained.
So it's really right. We're asking the agent to display new information to the buyer. They may not have the knowledge base. What we like to be is that easy button that I referenced earlier, right? We want to be the easy button for these features that make a difference in someone's life.
So on the way we're walking over here, Tad was asking me, how did we come to do this, and why am I doing this? And one of my comments have always been, be the source of the source, right? I may not understand your world, a little bit, but I'm smart enough to say, hey, that's the source to go to get information. So,
And what you've done is you've turned this into the source. There's 11 real estate firms in Central Virginia watching.
Wow.
We have agent in Charlotte, North Carolina watching that
Thank
just
you.
asked a question. Folks in Atlanta, outside Philly, and Chicago watching the program as we speak. A testament to the guests that you're bringing on the
thank you.
program.
Well, I think it's our chemistry too.
We'll give some love to, how about Bill Tucker? You know, Bill Tucker is up for Settlement Company of the Year from the Daily Progress.
I voted for him.
Yeah, me too.
There you go.
Charlottesville Settlement Company.
Yeah, it's funny. I bumped into Katie West yesterday at the award show, and we're going to get it back on. They're just all kinds of fun to work with, and that's the firm, in my opinion, the firm to go ahead and get your transactions done and closed. Never a problem. Always solve it. Whatever it is, it gets solved and closed.
Tad, you're getting love from Jimmy Evers, Amy Backay, Jeremy Wenzel. I feel like the entire Sigora Solar team is watching right now. Wilner, hello.
Get to
John
work.
Dallas Campbell, hello. What's up, baby? One of my favorite bartenders now working with your firm over there. John, hello. Alexandra Lazar, Braden Greenwald, Nelia Brown, Kemp Bartlett. Your firm is watching the program as we speak.
Go to work. Go to work. Go sell some solar.
Let us have the fun. Go to work.
Tracy Mead, welcome to the program. Sarah Hill Buczynski, welcome to the show. Chris Jensen.
Yeah, Sarah's a rock star.
Yeah, she's an agent.
Oh, absolutely, total rock star.
Are you thinking Gauntlet?
No, not yet. I want to go back to the battery thing, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Because my wife is European. My wife is from Austria. We have some family there. We have lots of friends, and this whole battery system attached to the solar is rather large there.
Yeah.
So, tell me, everything I've heard is extremely expensive, right? So what's the benefit? Let's say Yonna and I are looking at this and we want to put a battery pack into our house. Tell me how that works. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. I think extremely expensive is probably a little bit in the eye of the beholder.
Got it.
Because there's a certain amount of value built into that.
Let me back up for a second. So if I, in simple terms, if I end up putting a battery system in my house, my need to use the grid diminishes greatly. Is that correct?
Yeah, so there are actually a few parts to that, and that's a really good question because it gets really interesting in the ability that specifically the Tesla Powerwall has, because within the Tesla app, you can actually choose times of day to just run your house off of the batteries.
And you can charge your Tesla from that too,
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah, that's right. So, so particularly if you think about just even where we happen to be sitting right now in and around Central Virginia, lots of people have well pumps. Sure. What happens when the power goes out? You got no water, right? Sure. And so something as simple as that can make a huge impact. So sometimes it is just about emergency, backup power outages. But other times it is also just about being able to be less connected to the grid, that much more independent. You could just decide every night after 8 p.m., I just want to run my house off the batteries. And you can just set that as a timer in your app, and automatically, you wouldn't even know it was happening. If you were watching TV, the TV wouldn't even flicker. You would just immediately go over to running off the batteries.
How many of them do you put in?
It depends on what your needs are. So you can do as small as one. We just had a job recently that installed 3. It really depends on the individual needs.
And how does that affect the certification?
It's just a better certification. Yeah, we'll highlight the battery.
Yeah, so you end up going to platinum or something along those lines.
Well, on the solar certification isn't a whole home certification, but yeah, it is a significant upgrade on the solar. Certification.
I get batteries. You just got me 5% more, which in theory pays for my batteries or thereabouts. So to me, the ROI, which us business guys are always thinking about, I just can't think where this is consistently a no-brainer. Before we do the gauntlet, I do want to give a shout out to you two gentlemen. Both of you guys, as you know, I sit on the land trust. Both of you guys were a huge part of that. We were able to produce and move folks in to homes that were $215,000 that will have no electric bill, have a Pearl certification, no electric bill. So thank you, and thank you.
How about this question? This question is, how does solar work with multifamily homes or apartments? Jerry, I'm a landlord that owns property in downtown Charlottesville. How could I spread the solar power out amongst my tenants?
Sure. So that depends a little bit on the individual setup, but typically what you can do in that type of a scenario is you could have solar on the roof and run, typically in that scenario you have different electric meters for the different units, so you can actually run a certain amount of the solar power to those individual meters to offset their usage.
Interesting.
Yeah, so there are ways you can do it. And then with the work that we do in Haiti, battery batteries and
just
breaking
gonna
up
go-
a lot
I
of
was
things
just
like
gonna
that
go
too.
there.
That we've learned to be very creative on how to be able to kind of put some things together. It has to make sense. We try to stay away from true science projects, but in general, we're usually able to find an application that.
So we got to talk pizza and have fun.
Absolutely, of course.
But before we do that, hats off to you guys what you're doing in Haiti. Talk a little bit about that real quick for a minute.
Sure. Yeah. Really briefly. We many years ago we decided that we wanted to get involved in the work in Haiti. They need plenty of help there, but a lot of people don't realize Haiti's the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. Only about 12% of people on the island of Haiti even have access to electricity. Those that do only have it for about 3 to 5 hours a day because the national grid is extremely unreliable. So what we started doing was creating solar-powered microgrids to provide electricity for people in Haiti who have never ever had power before, and it's pretty amazing. I mean, yeah, you see pictures of these like villages that are lit up at night. That typically, if you look at that same picture, there's no electricity, there's no ability to see anything there. And so a few years ago, we started what we call our 1-for-1 program, which is our nonprofit, and every single system that we install here in the United States, we provide free electricity to a home in Haiti for 2 years.
Dude, you got somebody from Haiti watching the program right now. This much love from Haiti. Sigora Solar is truly the greatest company that's making a major difference in people's lives overseas. He knows what he is talking about. Thank you for all that you have done for this country.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really powerful. The work that's been done there. I mean, we have these amazing pictures and videos of people that are screwing in a light bulb for the first time ever. They've never had electricity. And there are actually, it's really interesting, it's kind of fun, but there are parts of Haiti where you can go to a store and ask for a Coke, and you can either get a regular Coke or a Sigora Coke. And a Sigora Coke means that it's cold because they've never had refrigeration before.
Wow.
And so now, you have these businesses that are being created and things like that around that. So it's really amazing, and it's not just something that we, just kind of, it's not lip service. We don't just throw some money at it. We take company trips to Haiti every 6 months for people to be able to meet the people down there. We are also actually the largest privately held utility company on the island of Haiti. So we're also a functioning utility company, bucket trucks and all that kind of stuff. So when utilities like Dominion or others try to tell us that certain things don't work with the grid, we know when that's not true because we ourselves are a utility company and we understand how things work with the grid. So we have a very different perspective.
So one of the things we love to do on this show is showcase what everybody gives back. We're all business people. We all work hard for it, but we also believe in giving back.
Sure.
I know our industry does it. I know you two guys do it, and your firms do it. So thank you for what you guys do. But particularly for the affordable housing thing, you guys, we could not have done it without you two guys. So thank you so much.
I appreciate it. It was a great project to be involved
on
with.
that. But we have to have fun now.
Yeah, let's do it. So the gauntlet is powered by Marie Beth and Mac Weems State Farm.
Yeah, so I think Mac's coming on with AHIP.
Nice.
I think it's either next Friday or the Friday after. I can't remember. Looking forward to that. She's a rock star. If you need some insurance, give her a call. And my points are climbing. Well, I started a new thing. I pay it back. So if somebody, I buy a cup of coffee and then the guy behind me, I pay for theirs. So it's pretty cool.
So for anyone watching, get in line behind
me.
It's interesting because I didn't get a free cup of coffee and I wanted behind you. I was behind you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting.
He's going to start it tomorrow.
I was two.
It was two people behind.
That's nice.
You want the first question?
Joe, I still love you, man. Yeah, it's a little unfair because Joe's been through this before because he knows what's coming. So I've had to come up with some different questions for Joe, and Tad's never been here before. So this is a rapid fire. We ask a bunch of questions on this stuff. Okay. But I'm going to start with Joe because I told you we'd get to pizza. Sicilian or slice?
Oh, no. It's regular slice. There's
one or two slices on top of each other.
What do you mean on top? It's no. You don't go one or two. It's
okay,
a regular slice. You fold it. Come on now, it's pizza. You're from Long Island. You know.
Well, I do two slices. Pizza. I fold them. And how do you eat it? You fold it.
There's only one way to eat it. You fold it. Yeah, and if it flops, you throw it in the garbage.
Over a
you
trash
go to pizzeria next door. Yeah, you can't.
And that's what I don't understand. Why is the pizza back home has this great oil on it, and up here I can't get them?
Yeah, down here you're right. You're totally right.
Yeah, I mean
they say it's the water. I don't know. I think it's the Italians.
Probably helps.
I got to tell you,
Go find a more
agrees with
authentic
that.
Italian.
I got to tell you, and I know my son-in-law is watching, but when we were up in Connecticut last week, and we had a great pizza, but I'll tell you, the pizzas down here are getting close to being, if not better.
Okay, you played that well. I'm sure
Did I play that well?
Bringing it back
Okay.
around.
well played, Keith.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, go ahead. I got one for him too.
There you go. What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given, and why?
Oh my goodness! Wow, geez, I'd take the pizza question
I
any
got
day
stumped
over
on,
that.
I got stumped on that one the last time. I
Good
was here.
Lord,
Yeah, good luck.
man, that's a good. That's
Remember,
that's,
rapid fire.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, honestly, I think it's probably just to, as often as I can, and I still don't do a very good job of it, but it's just to keep my mouth shut as much as possible and listen as much as I can.
I bet you that's
And
tough
what
for you,
learn.
right?
Super hard. Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
hardest
I
thing.
was gonna
So I'm learning it on a daily basis. I don't know how
You should have
I've
seen it at
improved.
coffee because I have a hard time with that.
That's hard for all of us.
we were doing
dude.
this.
Throw this question to you, Joseph. You're coming down all the time to the South with what you do here. Your favorite thing as a Long Islander about Charlottesville and Central Virginia, and your least favorite thing?
I really look. The last time I was here, I told you it's just you build a straight road. It was great. You said mountains, and I get it. But there's a place that I eat here every time I come to town. And unfortunately, today I can't. But the next time I come down, I will. It's Marco and Luca's.
Oh yeah, the dumplings.
The dumpling place.
Wow.
Absolutely, it is like I come down here and it's like a magnet. I have to go there. Yeah.
He doesn't want to go out for lunch after this.
Well, he's a busy man.
He's got
Listen,
things to do.
I got to run. I got
He
things.
got
to
things to do.
Same question for Tad here. You're Maryland.
Yes.
Okay. Come to Charlottesville. Not always an easy place to crack. A lot of people say that.
Okay.
Your favorite and least favorite aspects since you moved down here. How long has it been again?
About a little over 2 years
Okay.
now. I'd say favorite for me probably has really been the people.
Good for you.
It's there's nowhere where we go. And people aren't friendly and pleasant. Least favorite. Man, that's a tougher one. That's I would have a.
Because you're a positive guy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think of least favorites. Which that's maybe a good thing, but.
It's a great thing, actually.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much that I don't like.
So I think that's the answer,
yeah,
right?
yeah. There's
You
not
don't,
much
you don't
I
waste
like.
you don't waste your time on the negative. You only focus on the positive.
Yeah, that's what I
You
try
and your
to.
lady have done a phenomenal job of like assimilating yourselves very quickly into this community.
Oh well, thank you. Yeah, it was a goal from the beginning to try to get involved in the ways that we could, and she's done obviously a far better job than I have, and the impact that she's had has been amazing. But yeah, it's we like it here, so we're out. I mean
I think you're selling yourself short. I think providing power the way you're providing power is a good thing for everybody.
Well, yes, I agree.
So, and it's green too.
That's
so, you haven't heard this one, Joe.
Okay.
What's left on your bucket list that you haven't done yet that you want to do? What's your next thing on your bucket list?
Oh, that's it. Dunk a basketball.
Jesus Christ.
Somebody get a trampoline and let's do this.
Can we do this? If we ask him to stand up, can you catch him?
Of course he can catch me. These things are.
I think this is taller than you.
Yeah, of course it is.
No, it's not. One short guy to another. Leave the man alone over there.
Yeah, but look at that gorgeous face, though.
I got a question for Joseph. You are dapper, dude. How does a nice custom shirt and pants and look make you feel when you get out? Does it make you feel good?
It makes me feel great. Clearly, I'm not an off the rack guy, so I need to have my clothes altered slightly. But yeah, I started doing this a few years ago, and it feels great.
He's got the monogram initials on the cuff. I noticed that right away.
Yeah.
You were looking, dude, the red from the buttons and the reds here and the monogram, you flossing.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's the details. It's all in the
It
details.
really is. I respect that. Don't you respect that?
What did I say the first thing when you sat down for coffee?
Yeah.
Great shirt,
It
man.
was, yep.
I thought you would say how handsome I look, but no, okay, you went with shirts.
I don't want to lie to you, man.
Tad, how about your guys' favorite restaurant in the town?
Oh
and why?
boy. I feel like this is always a big debate because it seems to shift all the time. It probably still is to a degree Lampo,
Nice.
but love it at Oak Heart Social. Had a lot of really good meals at Little Star. Yeah, gosh, those would probably be the top 3 right now.
Good taste.
So it was Yonna's birthday on Monday. We went out to Orzo, and that's one of our go-to
Nice.
restaurants. And it was a quiet night, so the owner and Yonna and I sat
Charles?
down. Yeah, sat down, and we had a drink together, and we were chatting. And we were talking about the 14th, like we're 14th in the country, the per capita. And he says it's probably closer to 5 to 6.
I've heard anywhere from 3 to 14.
Yeah.
It just means it's like we benefit, right?
And we talked about this last week. We were up in Old Town.
Yeah.
And went out for restaurant. It was extremely the dinner was extremely expensive. Food was mediocre. Service was mediocre. And I just got to the point where we're just so damn lucky to do this. Now, if I was in the restaurant business, it'd be really hard. That's hard
Very
to
competitive.
stay successful in it. But I want to go back to the bucket list question if we got time.
Yeah.
What's on your bucket list that you'd want to, first thing that pops up to you?
Yeah, one thing that I haven't done yet, and we've talked about doing it, my wife and I, is go to Europe.
Nice.
Yeah.
We had talked about it and haven't ended up doing it yet. We ended up making
Where?
other travel plans. We've talked a lot about Greece,
yeah.
Italy.
So Yonna and I courted in Greece.
Oh, really?
I spent a lot of time in Greece. Yeah.
Court it.
Yeah, it's old
Is
school
that,
stuff.
what they're calling it these days?
Nice, Joe. Good sing. Good sing, buddy.
That's interesting.
Do not invite Joe again.
How about this question for Joseph? You travel a lot. When you get back to the crib, how are you relaxing and chilling? What are you doing?
Look, the first thing I do is go home. I look for my children. I'm on the road so much. I enjoy getting the updates and the hugs and the kisses as soon as I walk in the door. I basically get tackled, actually.
How much do you travel? What kind of mileage are we talking? How many days a month?
Put it this way: I've been on the road now for 5 straight weeks. This is the shortest that I've traveled. So it was an overnight. So it was Thursday, Friday. But usually it's from Tuesday to Thursday or Tuesday to Friday.
Respect.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a grind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I respect that.
Yeah, traveling's tough these days.
Yeah, especially when you're sitting next to the coughing, sneezing,
Sure.
sniffling guy on the plane yesterday. If you're watching, please don't wipe your hands on your pants. That's probably not a good thing these days. Yeah, it would be.
Did the virus change any travel plans?
We're discussing that today on our senior staff meeting. So travel seems to be something that's on the table to alter.
So you flying back to New York?
Yes,
So where do you fly out of? Chicago,
Charlottesville.
Charlottesville?
Nice. Isn't that the best airport?
I love it. It's great.
Right.
You can't get lost, and it's impossible.
So
you can
it's-
show up 30 minutes before the flight.
30
Yeah.
minutes. It's like you
Walk
can
right
walk
through
basically
security.
right on.
Yeah.
They might let you fly the plane.
It's not like LaGuardia where it's like a 2-hour ordeal. Yeah.
That's where I met my wife, LaGuardia Airport.
Of course, because
Literally.
you're standing around waiting.
We were on a 3-hour delay. She couldn't run away from me. She was trapped. And then she got on a tin can with me, and she moved down from New York City and Long Island. She's from Long Island. Moved down from New York City 5 weeks after being trapped on that plane with me.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a good.
Mrs.
decision.
Miller, that's called stalking.
Yeah. I pretty much did start.
But yeah, so it's funny, at the commission meeting, planning district commission meeting last night, show came up, the airport came up, and most people may or may not know, but they're in the process of building an elevated parking structure, because one of the struggles there is there's not enough parking.
Yeah.
So it was pretty exciting to hear that and see the plans going in. Well,
You got to ask Tad the question.
oh really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Joseph knows the question. You asked him already that question.
I
last
think
time,
I
right?
did,
You
I
got to
did.
ask Tad.
I reserve the right to just walk off because the show's almost over.
This is
So
we're actually past.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, we're 65 minutes in. This is the beautiful thing of long-form content in his show. No commercial breaks. Go as long as you want. Have people from Haiti
Right.
and agents all over Central Virginia and the East Coast watching. Emily Dooley, hello.
And no FCC rules.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh God. yeah.
I've been good today.
You have now today, Joseph. You have. Ask Tad the go-to.
Got it. Oh, look at that. He's the whole eyebrow. That's the reason I don't want to ask it. So you're on a deserted island,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Tropical, deserted island.
Sure.
You're only allowed to bring one book with you.
You remember this one?
I remember
Yeah.
this one.
What book would that be? Now, Tad, it's a bit of a trick question. Remember the first half of it. You're on a deserted
Yeah,
island,
come on,
and
man.
you only have one book. I'll be disappointed if you don't pick this up.
I'm probably not going to pick it up. I'm going to be overthinking it.
There you go. Don't do that.
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong answer,
Right.
by the way.
Yeah. That would be tough. I don't know. I don't know.
Come on.
But
Dad.
well, partly because I know you're trying to trick me on it. So that's so now I'm trying to remember back to the beginning of the
what first
question.
came to your mind? What
No,
first came to your mind?
so yeah, I mean, if you know, it's yeah, probably at that situation, if I was that desolate, maybe the Bible.
There you go.
So
That's not wrong. That's basically right.
Yeah, it's basically
yeah.
right. A survival manual.
Yeah.
That would be a survival manual.
There you go.
Yeah, good for you, man.
What did you say?
I had to survive on a desert island. Yeah, it was like because I had no survival skills whatsoever.
Surviving on an island for dummies.
Had to start a fire. Had to build a shelter. I don't know. You could. I need a whole like.
Somehow or another, you would call Uncle Vito from Staten Island. To get it fixed. I just got a feeling you'd do
Had to
that.
contact Sigora so they could build solar on my island.
Hey,
Another one. Jesus Christ, help me.
Oh gosh, good show.
Thank you. Good. You know, I just love doing this every Friday. It's the best part of my week.
Right, agreed.
Love doing
you guys rock. Seriously, thank you for coming
Thank
on the
you.
program.
My pleasure.
This show we will archive on the Yes Team Realtors brand new website, the YesTeamRealtors.com.
Thank you.
We will syndicate the show across the I Love CVille Network. We reach a little over 250,000 people, guys. 17 Facebook pages, 17 Twitter accounts. We have an e-newsletter that goes out to 130,000 inboxes every morning at 11 a.m. Third largest Instagram account. We'll put this on iTunes and on Apple Podcasts and, of course, on ilovecville.com. The program is powered by the Yes Team Realtors. This man and his
Lovely.
7/8.
Beautiful. 7/8, absolutely.
Yonna Smith, happy birthday, belated birthday, Yonna Smith. It's Real Talk. On the
She
I Love
wanted to know
CVille
where the birthday card was. I'm just
You
saying.
already gave her a card. Oh, for me. My wife was asking if she was going to get a card for me for the birthday, too. I struggle at that. I'm sorry. Enjoy your Friday, guys. We'll see you next Friday at 10:15 a.m. Take care.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Brother, as always, thank you.
Hey, great job.
Thanks, man. You too.
Crushed it.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Great job, man.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Thank you. One more thing we got to do. We got to take a quick hit.
Sure.
Do that up here. Judah, thank you, sir.